Welcome back to CS2.20 data structures and algorithms, and we are right now going through the contents for the C lab. So till now we have seen how to use printfs and declare variables and different data types. This lecture we are interested in writing if then else statements. We'll start off with if then else statements, and so let's begin. Let's try to write a program, and as we know, every C program starts with a function called main, and since we will be using printf, we should include stdio.h. Okay, now main. So let's say your marks in CS 220 is say 90, okay, out of 100. So it's you have 90 out of 100, and you want to print whether you have passed or not, okay, in this course. So you pass if you have, so let's say pass the course if you have at least 40% marks. Okay, you pass the course if you have at least 40% marks. Now you want to print that. You want to check whether you have passed. If it's passed, you print passed, otherwise you print failed. Okay, so to do that, you have to write the if then else. And how do I write? So you put if, then you write the condition. So if CS220, the variable, is greater than so 40, right? Okay, so we want at least 40%, so it has to be greater than or equal to 40. So if CS220, if you have CS220 marks is greater than or equal to 40, you want to print passed, right? So you type printf passed. So else you printf fail, right? Okay, so now let's see whether you have passed or failed. You compile. So GCC, if then CC, you have compiled. Now you run. Yeah, you have passed. Good, as you could see, right? So you have passed. Okay, now let me add one printf here, the new line, so that you can see things clearly. Now okay, let me run compile. Add the semicolon, compile. Yeah, passed, right? So few differences with Python. There is no colon here, unlike the Python, right? You could have had that. Now you can place the printf anywhere you want. You could have placed it here, or you could have placed it here, anywhere, right? Here, so you could have placed here. This looks much more better. Okay, so in C you have the freedom. There is no concept of indentation in C, except that it's better to do that because you can read your code, others can read your code, so follow the indentation. Otherwise there is no need to indent in C. It's not compulsory. You could have had this thing here, for example, and you can still compile and run. Okay, this is unlike Python. Okay, now right, so you have got this. So let's see what happens if you have 30. It's failed. So as you could see, if the marks is greater than or equal to 40, execution comes here. If the mark is less than 40, execution comes here. That's what has happened now. Okay. Now few things. What if you wanted to inverse it? You wanted to have you want to talk about not. You want to write, you want to write the statement you have not passed. Okay, so for that you should write here if, so let's have that here, you want not passed, right? So you want therefore to write, you have to put this, you have to put this is the symbol, exclamation is the symbol which says it's negation. Okay, so to make it not passed, so you have to print failed here because it's not passed and you are printing passed here. Okay, we can compile and see. So what should the output be? The output should be failed. Clearly it's failed because so CS220 is 30. Is CS220 greater than or equal to 40? No, that's wrong. So but it's a negation of that false. So for negation of false is true, and this if condition is true, and therefore it comes to failed. Okay, it prints failed. It's clear. Now let's say I want to make a as you know, your grades are like A, B, C, etc. So I want to give grades like that. So how do I start? So what is the grade? So let me say that if you have more than 90% marks, so I'm going to write, so I won't delete this, let's have it above this. If you have more than 90% marks, I'd say you get an A grade. Let's have that condition. So CS220 is greater than, so let's say just greater than 90, printf A grade. Okay, I will add an extra new line here. Okay, so if you have greater than 90, you get an A grade. So we can check this here. 95 I give here, and obviously you run some semicolon input here also, compile, run. Okay, so you have got A grade and you have passed. Okay, now you want an else condition. You want, what about B grade? So B grade is, it has to be between 80 and 90. So it should be in else. Okay, so let's say I just want to print whether you have B grade or not. So for B grade you should have less than or equal to 90. That's not enough. You should have and of, if you want your mark to be less than 90 and greater than or equal to 80. So and greater than 80. So how do I write and? You write 2 ampersand symbol. This is your and thing. Okay, and so therefore you should write this, and should write CS220 is greater than 80. Okay, this is because B grade when marks greater than 80 and less than or equal to 90. Okay, okay, so then you print B grade. So now let's see whether you print B grade in this case. Really? Okay, so it's B grade. So this is the AND symbol. Okay, if I had given here 80, it didn't come because this AND condition is violated, this condition is violated, and therefore the AND itself, AND is violated. Okay, so now you know how to write AND. What happens if I put 2 of this? This is equivalent to OR. Okay, so I will mention here. These are things which we saw. This stands for AND, stands for OR. Okay, now you tell me, when is this, when will B grade be executed? Okay, so will it be executed if it is 60? Okay. I claim it would be because it's less than or equal to 60. This condition is true, right? And it's an OR, so OR condition. So let's compile run, B grade is printed. Right? What if I have 100 full marks? Is it B grade? Let me compile, and it's still B grade. Why? Because this condition is true. CS greater than 80 is true. So this is the OR condition. So one of them, even if one of them is true, B grade is true. Okay. And for negation, we just saw stands for. Now this is clear. Now let's go to the next thing you need to do is the entire thing. If your mark is greater than 90, I want to print A grade. If it's between 80 and 90, I want to print B grade. 70 to 80, C grade, etc. Okay, let's do that now. I'm going to comment this. How do I comment? I just put slash. I can put slash here also, and put 2 slashes and comment. Okay, now so if CS 220 is greater than 90, I print A grade. Else I have to check the condition that if it's between, so I have to write else if. So else if CS 220 is greater than 80, right, and CS 220 is less than or equal to 90, right, and you should. In this case, what should you do? You have to print B grade. Okay. So you can write one more else here. This is the else for this if. Okay, you can write another else saying that printf less than B grade. Okay. Now let's try it for different versions. So let's see what happens if it is 85. What gets printed? So it's B grade. Okay. And if I put 60, it's less than B grade. Right? Okay. I can make this better by doing this. This if you can bring it here if you want. Okay, so this similarly you can add another statement for C grade if you want. You can add it here, saying it's less than 70, and then you have now you have C grade and with an else. So you had 60 and it's less than C grade. On the other hand, if you had 75 here, you have C grade, right? So now you have, okay. So what did we see right now? So we saw how to use if condition, else condition, and how to use if else, etc. Now, which is good. What if I wanted to write 2 statements here? Okay. I wanted to write printf A grade, and I have one more thing. I also want to print something else. I also want to say that so you say I just want to say congratulations. Okay, I want to write congratulations. Okay, so now this is 2 statements for this if condition, right? So this is, now will this work? Okay, So this is where you have to do something. You have to put the braces here. Okay. So listen carefully that, so this if condition, if this if condition holds, then the entire block of commands inside this open and close braces will be executed. That's the main fact you have to keep in mind. Okay. If there is only one command to be executed, then there is no requirement for braces. But if there are multiple commands to be executed, then braces are must. Okay. The C program needs to know when it starts, so which are the block of commands inside an if condition. Okay, so this is clear, right? Now okay. So similarly, okay, so let's just have, so let's have 95 and see what happens. Okay, so A grade, congratulations. So I'll make it into /t so that it comes, yeah. So you have now, you have A grade and congratulations, right? Okay, now, so this is the main point. Okay, if it is B, you have to again you have to, if you want to add multiple lines here, again you have to add another block here. You have to say printf /t, a little more effort required. No, simple. Okay, so this is still A grade, so let me have it 85 and see what happens. Okay, so B grade, a little more effort required. Okay, so if it's an else, so wherever, so if it's an else condition, or so even if it's an else condition, you should have some like this, printf okay, if you have less than C grade, you need to work hard. So add 55 here, compile. Okay, so less than C grade, work hard. Right, so irrespective of the fact that if it's in if, or if it is in else if, or if it's in else, wherever you are, if you have multiple lines of code, you have to have an open and close braces, and your commands have to be inside an open and close braces. If you had only one statement, you could have had without the open and close braces. This is the important takeaway. People make mistakes, and then you wouldn't know what is happening in the code if you don't keep this in mind. Okay. Okay, that's it in if then.